What's up? Just a short stream today. I've got some things to do, but I really want to... I had some ideas about fixing this road. Hello, Yogs. Thanks for the raid. Just getting
Yogs
going.
cast raided with 202 views.
You will see the problem as soon as we load in. But I was literally thinking, how the fuck do I fix this road system? And I think my entire approach to roads has been wrong. I was quite focused on the idea of having a nice fast loop around the city that people can just join and leave as they want. But of course, having heavy traffic and cars joining is apparently a nightmare. So we're going to get away entirely. We're going to get away from this ring road system entirely. It's gone. It's going to have a series of collector roads. This is what this guy, City Planner Plays, talks about. You've got arterial roads, which are like these big external roads, collector roads, which collect traffic from those and direct them to local roads. So this entire big outer circle is essentially unworkable, and I'm going to delete the whole thing. Okay. Right. Now the problem is, how do we actually solve the many problems that this city has? kind of roads are these? These are big 6-lane mega bastard roads. Is that going to annihilate them? No. I've spoken about Skylines 2 a lot, actually. It's not to... I'm not diminishing your question at all. It's just... I'll run over it again, my feelings on it. This might be a little tedious for those of you who've heard me do this already, but I don't care. I think it's worth talking about. So, my issue with Skylines 2 is that essentially, and I apologize to people who've been here for a lot of these streams, the problem you've got is, why do I want to play 2 over 1? What's in it for me? What is so good about 2 that I'm going to abandon 1? And the problem is, you've got This amazing game with all these amazing mods. And then you basically saying, come and play this much less developed game with no mods, because it's a new game. I'm not saying it has to have mods. But essentially, why would I pick it? Why would I pick it? Why would I play 2? When I've got 1. Like, 1 exists. 1 is a game I can play. I don't need 2. And I think that is its problem. And it's going to suffer from that probably for its entire life as a game. It's like its big brother is just too good. And I'm not saying that this like an easy fix or that just do X. Like I get it. There's a huge problem, which is that you're trying to replace a game that's its lifetime is the cycle that it's in is already at the point where the community has essentially taken over, where the new DLC that you provide, people that are super into the game will buy because they want the new assets, and it's like going to be extra polished because it's made by Colossal Order, and it's not just sort of shoehorned in. They can even change some code, like all those kind of things that a really good DLC and all the rest of it has that a modder can't provide. I get all that, and I realize that it's a problem for them. It's like, how do we take a game that's hugely popular and successful, and already has a huge modding community? How do we make a sequel relevant? And I don't know. And I don't know if they do either. And obviously that's a problem. Because if your game is just, oh, it's like the one you've been playing, but trimmed way back with hardly any of the functionality, none of the expansions, and none of the mods. It needs to be better in the core game. Like, here's what I would have focused on. I would have said, alright, we need to take the core functionality of the game that was frustrating for players and modders. Number one would be, why don't the cars use all the lanes, right? That, as someone who focuses on traffic a lot in these games, that is a fucking issue, and they need to fix it. That's the kind of thing where you think if they fix that, that would help a lot, right? Make it prettier, because this is like a 10-year-old game or whatever. Graphics are up to date. Optimize it so it runs smoother. More assets. More flexibility with like road placement and zoning. Maybe add some new zones in there, like they added the shops underneath apartments. Love that. That kind of stuff. Put all that in. And then say one of the most popular mods, Traffic Manager, prime example. Get that in there from in the base game. Stuff like that.
Jungle 4 Justres Zubed for 41 mons, le vin, du pain, du Gorroth.
Oh, I thought you were going to say du bon sang, but thank you. So it's just stuff like that where you think, like, I get it. This is, this. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but I feel like the core of what they needed to do, whilst challenging, was essentially laid out for them already, because you have this big mod community and everything. So it feels like it should be possible to just take all the things that worked and do more of that. But I feel like they weren't able to, unfortunately. So Skylines 2, which is obviously has a big expectation. People are expecting all kinds of things from Skyline 2. That's always going to be hard to live up to. But oddly enough, on the podcast, we just recorded a Triforce this morning. This came up because we talked about games a little bit, and I was talking about Skylines and how much I love it and everything. And the lads were like, "Are you playing 2 or 1?" And I was like, "I'm playing 1 because 2 is just not there yet." And then we were talking about sequels and stuff like that. And we can tart all this up later, but I just want to see if I can get this working. So the central problem I always have is how the hell do you go from motorway to regular road? And the best I've come up with is what I'm going to do right now. And it's not great, but like I said, this is the best I've come up with. I think one of the keys is, this is from looking at City Planner Plays, to avoid having your slope too steep my fucking ass. What are you talking about? Ah! Now that would be a handy button, an undo button. Someone will tell me it exists now, but essentially, I just put something down. I wish I hadn't. I can just press a button and it undoes it. That would be pretty fucking good. You can click and drag, but you can't click and drag like, and it'll just pick up anything. There is in Skylines 2, if there's a line, if I click here and hold down the button whilst the bulldoze tool is done and just drag it along a road, it will smart select that whole section of road up to my mouse and delete it. Rather than have to do like dragging it and it's like it's deleting each piece individually. The thing is, I don't think that anyone was like, man, Skylines 2 better be an incredibly complicated game. I didn't want it to be complicated. I just wanted it to be slightly better. It didn't need to reinvent the wheel. You have this amazing game already. I do not know what the cars are going to do when they're literally flying through there. There's like thousands of cars just floating in there. What are they going to do? We could despawn all vehicles. I think, is that Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Otherwise, it's just going to be insane. And we don't get a real good look at what it's like. Slope too fucking steep. Good. Whoopsie. That is one heck of a boulevard. So... Look at this. Look at this. Oh, it's partially elevated, partially water roundabout. That is... That's so Gorroth. That is so Gorroth. I love that for him. Love that for you. Love that for you. Who else is intrigued to see how this is going to go? Jack, sadly, I am not going to be streaming for long today. I have... Let me think. Hang on. What time do you want to head off?
Oh, I don't know how long to drive.
I can drive.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah. So we'll leave it 2. Is it 2:30 appointment?
Yeah,
Alright. So I'm leaving at 2, so I'll probably be streaming until 1:30. Then I'll get dressed. And then I'm out this evening. Alright, so we've already hit a problem, which is a traffic light. So let's do a little timer on this bad boy. So, issue we've got is a ton of cars coming in from here to get over to here. Kind of need to make sure that people on this side of the city don't all just have to go this one way. Quite the snare. Good God. My God. There's plenty of roundabouts. Alright, this is an issue. It's the random stopping. Oh, it's because people are bloody stopping. People are parking. People are stopping their cars to get out and park. Whoa. I think I see the problem. This gate. People are stopping. Is there any way I can say, no, you may not do that? That's vehicle restrictions. Click icons to toggle parking ban. Oh, so they're not parking here. They just stop in their car to get out. Their cars just disappear. Yeah, but that's like at junctions. The issue is they're coming through this junction and stopping here, look, to fucking get out of their cars. I think if we upgraded the road... What if we tried that? What if we upgraded this bit of road? No, that doesn't work. Can we do two-way highway? Maybe we just get rid of this gate. The thing is, like, quite like people being able to... The thing is, they're going to stop here as well, if they don't stop there. I mean, the easy solution is just to get rid of the gate. Really. Because it has to be roadside. I mean, we could have a little road off here that leads to the gate. But then we just have them turning back out onto this road, and it's the same problem again. And then it kind of focuses all the park traffic here, which I guess wouldn't be the end of the world. It's just a secret gate. I mean, it's busy, but they're moving. It's functional. Just about. Just about. Whenever anyone says chaos reigns, it always makes me think of that clip from that movie with the fox, which it's not a film I've seen. I think is it a Lars von Trier movie where the fox turns and says chaos reigns. It's a really unsettling scene. I'll show it to you guys in case you haven't seen it. It's got your boy Willem Dafoe in. What a lad. This is such a weird scene.
You look like you slept well.
Thanks, I did. I just wanted to say how happy I am that you're here. I love you, darling.
No one talks like this.
Did you have a good sleep?
I've just been having a lot of crazy dreams.
Dreams are of no interest in modern psychology. Freud is dead, isn't he?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Look. I'm well again. I'm cured. You're so clever. I'm fine.
It's like they dubbed over everybody's dialogue.
You can't just be happy for me, can you?
I've got stuff to say about this afterwards. This is weird. If you're a little squeamish, don't watch this. That's it. That's the scene. And it's so weird. I can't get it out of my head. Okay, so if we look up Antichrist film, 2009 film, here's the plot to the film. An unnamed couple have sex in their Seattle apartment while their unsupervised infant son, Nick, climbs up to the bedroom window and falls out to his death. The mother collapses at the funeral and spends the next month in the hospital crippled with atypical grief. The father, a therapist, is skeptical of the psychiatric care she is receiving and takes it upon himself to treat her personally with psychotherapy. She reveals that her second greatest fear is nature, prompting him to try exposure therapy. They hike to their isolated cabin in the woods, called Eden, where she spent time with Nick the previous summer while writing a thesis called A Genocide. During the hike, he encounters a deer that shows no fear of him and has a stillborn fawn hanging halfway out of her. So the plot goes on and on and on. It's very, very odd. It really... It's one of those films where... It's like... If you look on YouTube for a lot of these films, there is an hour-long video or something of some lad explaining so-and-so, this movie explained. Another one, I watch all these movies, by the way, because I love watching weirdo films. What's it called? I'll be with you in a sec. Sorry for the I'm very, very easily distracted. This is another really weird film with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's called Enemy. I will talk about it, both of these films, a little bit in a sec. Hold on. This is the ending of the film. This is the final scene of the film. So if you haven't seen it, don't watch.
Alan, did you plan on doing something tonight? Because I think I have to go out. Helen?
Yeah, I haven't seen The Lighthouse yet. I really want to see it.
Helen?
That is how the film ends. At no point in the film is anyone a giant spider. Nobody talks about giant spiders. It's like there's hints, but like you have to basically watch. You either have to watch the film multiple times to figure out. No, he was just sort of like that. Like. And then I watched it and I was like, wait a second, so they were like giant spiders all along? And then if you, like, the whole idea of the film is he sort of meets his exact double. And if you look at the film, he's essentially, the film opens, he's cheating on his wife in this sort of weird brothel thing where you need a special key. It's like a members club brothel thing. There's something to do with, like, I don't know if it's some kind of kink or something. He's like a professor, but then he meets his exact double, who's like a much cooler, more relaxed version of him, and then he sort of comes to terms with the fact he cheated on his wife and everything. But at the end, when he's looking at that key, that's the key that you need to get to this nightclub thing. And he's sort of saying, I think I need to go out tonight. So he's going to cheat on her again, and then it's like she turns into a giant spider. I think it's Denis Villeneuve. I think that's a Villeneuve movie. Yeah, so that's a Denis Villeneuve film. It's so weird. It's so weird And I feel like, and this is the same thing with Antichrist, these films are very, very odd. They're very unsettling. There's just aspects of it, because you're not going to see that in a mainstream Hollywood movie. Like, Chris Pratt isn't walking in on Jennifer Lawrence when she's turned into a spider and the film ends as there's no explanation. The audience would revolt. They'd be like, what the fuck? It's 1 out of 10. What the fuck? These films, you need to invest a lot of time in figuring them out. And afterwards, you're like, what was that about? And I wonder if half of these films, the reason people like them is because you go, you see the film, you go out for dinner, you got something to talk about. You can talk about what the fuck just happened in that movie. Nobody really knows. You can't watch that film at first take and go, ah, yes, It's almost impossible. They're too obtuse. They're way too obtuse. You need to really invest time and effort in decoding some of these movies. And I think for some people that's like half the fun, which is cool. I love analysing movies. What do you think that meant? What do you think this meant, sort of thing. I think that's great. That is a lot of the fun of movies, is sort of having a good look at them, and you almost want to analyse them. But sometimes I think, is that masturbatory filmmaking in a way? Is that masturbatory to just have the director be like, well, what I wanted to say was, and you get these films at the end and they're like, I wanted to leave it in the audience's hands. I just think, is that good filmmaking? Is that good filmmaking? To say, I'm not saying spoon feed me the plot, but I'm saying a lot of films, you don't have to fucking conceal the plot and the meaning and what the characters, who they are and what this is all about for it to be a good film. I feel it is a bit fucking wanky, isn't it? For me, it's a weakness of storytelling. If someone was telling you a story and they were sort of like that vague, you'd want more detail. And the idea that the filmmaker doesn't give it to you is sort of like, well, you're not actually telling me a story then, are you? Like, it's just a bunch of stuff that happens and it's up to you what it means. Come on. Like, there is a point where having a bit of mystery in a film, fantastic. Having an ending that's a bit vague, having a kind of things where you're like, and it is kind of open to interpretation, that's fine. But if that's kind of like the whole thing, you can't watch Enemy and be like, oh, I see what that is. Like, it's too vague. So I think a lot of these films, just a bit wanky, aren't they, really? Trying very hard to be ever so interesting. How many of you guys are turning left? Like, none of you. Well, it is what it is. Everybody seems to be getting picked up if they're dead. Products are being brought to... This place is a dead zone. What's happened here?
Excuse me, sir, but it's time to goose.
Vendredi 921 just Zubed for 28 months. Continue to praise for great Gorroth.
Merci. Yeah, I mean, I think there is absolutely you don't want every film to be plain and easily explained, right? Like, it's great to have the ability to sort of really dive into a film and not immediately know what's happening and have to think about it and have to analyze it and evaluate it. I do really enjoy that. I just think sometimes it's too vague. It's too, oh, I'm leaving it up to you. It's like, could you give me some fucking help? Like, it just seems, it kind of makes me feel stupid when I'm watching it and I'm like, what was that all about? And I think I'm not happy just being told, oh, it's leave it up to your interpretation, because I'm thinking, if you had a story worth telling, you would tell it. You wouldn't just leave it up to me to fucking tell it. You would just tell me the story. Surely. Had an idea, team. I have had an idea. How many of these chodes are turning right? Not many. Yeah, I think Lars von Trier is a bit of a nut, quite famously. Famously a nut. I mean, so Bird Box I didn't have a problem with, in the same way that in The Road, you don't need to know what the calamity was. It's not really important. Like, in The Road, in the book, the way Cormac McCarthy, I've read all his books, and I feel his style of storytelling is really good. And the stuff he leaves vague is not important. And sometimes something will happen, like people were really angry with the ending of No Country for Old Men, because they were like, we don't get to find out what happened to Llewellyn. He just dies off camera. It's because he's not the main character. And you don't really realize he's not the main character until later. And at the end you realize it was the sheriff. It was Ed. He was the main character. And what he sees as America, as he knew it, slipping away and becoming something more violent and more visceral, he's left to pick up the pieces. And in a way, if we see Llewellyn's death, it doesn't change the story at all. We know that he got mixed up in something, he crossed paths with the wrong guy, and it went exactly as everyone told him it was going to go. And he ignored all of those warnings, and that's the story of the book. And they carried it over to the film, and that's the story of the film. Llewellyn Moss is out of his depth, and he represents this crossover point between old America. He's a cowboy, he's a veteran, you know, he goes hunting, he's a pretty straightforward guy. He only wears white socks, he wears this hat, he wears these shoes. He's a proper old boy. And for Sheriff Ed, I think his name's Ed, either way, Tommy Lee Jones's character, he's representing someone who's trying to hold law and order in this area that is becoming increasingly lawless. He's the main character. If he died off camera, you'd lose the entire focus, or off page. You'd lose the whole focus of the film because it's him. He's the sensible one who doesn't understand what's happening. And I think that was, people really didn't like that, and that was a very subtle thing for a big movie. I mean, it's a Coen Brothers movie. People fucking love the Coen Brothers, and rightly so. No Country for Old Men, the ending to that actually annoyed quite a few people. They're like, what do you mean he died off? What do you mean he's dead? But if you're looking at that as a film, it didn't just end with him dying off camera and we don't know, or he's just gone, or, you know, fucking he turns into a giant spider and you're left, what? Like, it's still a story that makes sense. And subtle changes that leave things up to your interpretation, or a change of direction in a film, is great. But some of these movies, you just think, geez, what the fuck does this all mean? Now I feel like an idiot because I don't get it. It feels a bit mean. That's how I feel about it anyway. I feel like with Nolan, if you think of something like Tenet is probably the most confusing film that he's made. And it's not like mega confusing, but certainly at first viewing I was like, and had to sort of watch it. It was better second time I watched it, and I enjoyed it even more the third time, where I was like, this is actually a pretty fucking good movie. But it wasn't like Arcane, it was just a little bit confusing. So many of these guys want to get to here. We built an industrial area over here and had a road coming into here. This could supply this, and then we could build more commercial over here and these guys could supply that. This is all forestry by the looks of it, right? So yeah, I'm not really making much sense, but I just think there is a desire in some filmmakers to underthink their plot and overthink their ability to just be so good that you're going to enjoy their film, even if at the end of it you're left thinking, well, that was okay, but what the fuck was it all about? Like, come on, tell me a story. Tell me the fucking story. Oh my god, Asteroid City was so disappointing. So disappointing. I feel like, I mean, Wes Anderson is one of my favorite directors. That's not an opinion that people are going to have a problem with. I think he's a brilliant director, genuinely original, very funny, creates these incredible characters, and a lot of his favorite actors, like Jason Schwartzman, Willem Dafoe, Bill Murray, you know, they're actors that people love seeing in things. They're very funny. His films are brilliant. Like, they're just so much fun. However, I feel like sometimes his obsession with trying to fit all these actors he really likes in means that he almost doesn't make it worth having them. Steve Carell's character was one of the more interesting characters in Asteroid City. I wanted to know more about that character. I really did. I was like, this is an interesting character. And we get like a few minutes with him. And I just feel like, what a waste. Like, that felt like a character that we could have explored more. And we just don't get the chance because it's like just a throwaway interesting character, and that feels like a waste. And I think sometimes that can happen where a director has too many ideas when really he should have some really good ideas that are not quite as sort of ill thought out, if you know what I mean. Having, if you look at Rushmore, which was like, I think Bottle Rocket, I think it was something like that, was his first, but which was okay. It was like his sophomore project or whatever. It was decent. Rushmore is a brilliant film, a brilliant complete film. It's perfect from start to finish, absolutely brilliant. French Dispatch, I thought, you've got so much potential here, and there are so many things I want to explore, and the stuff they spent more time on was the stuff I found least interesting. Guillermo del Toro's character and that whole plot, it was okay, but I didn't watch it and think, oh man, this could be a movie on its own. Whereas the thing about the police cooking with Jeffrey Wright made the film. Like, that was brilliant. And I think if you have French Dispatch where you're dipping in and out of these interesting characters, like even just the way the magazine worked was brilliant. And the characters there, I wanted to know more about that. But we just kind of dipped. If you think about Royal Tenenbaums, which is amazing, or Hotel Budapest, which is his best film, we fully explore multiple characters in that film. The characters are really good. The central relationship between Ralph Fiennes and the bellboy is brilliant. It's a funny film with great characters. No point did I feel I didn't get to see as much of that character as I needed to. And I think with Asteroid City, we abandoned these half-finished characters continually. There were so many of them. You thought, well, why? What point does this character serve other than to say, isn't this guy a quirky and interesting character? It's got annoying. I just found it annoying. If you have too many characters in a film, you never fully... You don't give them life. They have no space to breathe. You just don't get to know who they are. They're just some random character that pops up for 2 minutes and then for the sake of one joke or something, and then they're gone. And you think, what a waste. What a waste. What have you... Is this... This is the Wombat video, isn't it? I'm going to open it, but this is clearly the Wombat video. It's not. It's something else. What is this? This is... Munt has sent a Worms Armageddon best shot of 2022.
Yep.
Alright, that is incredible. What a shot. Fair play.
Excuse me, sir, but it's time to goose.
Thank you.
M'intacu just Zubed for 112 months.
Merci pour le sub. $112 months. 112 months. We are closing in on 10 years of streaming. Are we even there? I can't remember. How long's Bob been a sub for? Poggy Tankhead, I think, is my longest sub. Every time he turns up, he's disappointed. He's like, is this shit still going? Why isn't Worms a regular Yogscast YouTube series? I've never been able to watch TTT and get into it for some reason. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly do not know. It feels like perfect Yogs fodder, doesn't it? What is happening here? Christ. People love the park. Oh, now I added some tools. Yeah, I added these Forest Brush Revisited tools. Isn't that nice? No, I will not be doting today. I am going out to take my dog to the fucking dog masseur. Not my idea. And then I'm going out this evening for a meeting with a certain young moderator of mine and some assorted other viewers. Not enough goods to sell. Well, we're fucking cranking out goods, but I don't know what to tell you. Not Bond Street, no. Yes, I'm aware they're taking a while to get there. They shouldn't be. It's not that bad. Christ. We've had worse. There must be an issue with roads here being one way or something. Oh, it's just impenetrable traffic. Oh my goodness. My bad. It's the school. Now, are these cars parked or are they trying to drive? They're trying to drive. Good God Almighty. They're all trying to turn down this road. big. Oh my goodness. All right, well. Friends, we'll be back tomorrow. Sorry for the short stream. I got shit to do. Dog's got to be rubbed. I'll see you guys tomorrow.